I want to bring one for you today. Cold day like today. Do you know why cows wear bells?
Why?
Because their horns don't work.
Run. That is cheesy.
No? That wasn't a good one? Oh, that was a father joke, wasn't it? That's terrible. All right, well, today, we've talked about, Melanie likes it, by the way, I'm just saying.
Stephen left.
I say, certain people critics. Last week we discussed how God shows us He knows we have faith by praising us. And today we're going to look at that when we receive praise from God, other Christians are going to look at us in two ways for having the same faith that God praises. And the first one is they're going to admire us and they're going to respect us. The second way is they're going to envy us. So you can expect one of two ways from Christians, your brothers and sisters, on how they'll receive your faith and how you present it. Either they're going to admire it and respect it and want to be a part of it and grow with it, or they're going to envy it and say, can you just be quiet? Can you just tone it down a little? You're a bit much. Just come down a few levels. No one else is up there yet. Just kind of hang with us down here. Well, today we're going to be reading in 1 Samuel 18, 1 through 11. And we're going to see that David gets both responses at the very same time. Chapter 18, verse 1 through 11. As soon as he had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Jonathan and David made a connection as best friends, as brothers. Jonathan doesn't have brothers or sisters in his family. So when David comes along, who's his age, he's like, dude, we think alike. We talk alike. We like the same things. You're like my brother I never had. This is awesome. Saul decides, that's fine, that's great. In second verse, and Saul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house. You know, Saul loved his son. Saul wanted to see his son happy. So Saul says, son, you have a new friend? You have a brother you really like now? Great. I'm the king. He's not leaving. You get to keep him forever. That's not fair to David or his family, but Saul's the king, so he makes that edict. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that he was on him and gave it to David, and his armor, even his sword and his bow and his belt. David is standing there talking with Jonathan. Jonathan says, look, I want us to be like brothers. For this to happen and for the kingdom to recognize this, some things have to happen. First off, you have to wear my royal robe. You're going to look like me. You're going to be dressed in royal attire. Now, when we go to battle, I have the best armor that the kingdom can make. I want you to wear it too. I want you to have this. So he's making an open statement for everyone around there to see that when you hear Jonathan talk, you hear David talk. When you hear David talk, you hear Jonathan talk. They are one and the same, and they are not separate. So both of them are like twins. And David accepts that. And David says, that's great. Yeah, cool, man. So David's going to carry the same authority that Jonathan will in front of the troops and in front of everyone else. And this is important because this is really going to affect David's life down the road, that he gains this respect. And it says further, and David went out and was successful wherever Saul sent him, so that Saul set him over the men of war. Saul says, you know what? We got Philistines over there attacking this small community. David, Jonathan, take the army, go over there and kick them out. They do. David, go over here and kick the Philistines over here. I don't like them over here. Move them out, move them out. David goes over there. And God makes him successful because of his faith. David says, there's nothing I can't do because of God. I've defeated a giant that no one else can do because God allowed me to. God isn't going to stop leaving me behind. He's going to keep allowing me to do whatever I need to do to help the Philistines. And this made Saul happy. And so Saul says, fine, you're the head general now. You get to control the army. Not just because my son says says so, but because I as king say so. And David went out and was successful. And this was good in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. Now, did you catch that? There's a fine line in what the author wants us to know here. The people see David's actions, and they're like 2 thumbs up. They see what he does over here. They see over there. The servants see this, and they're 2 thumbs up. Jonathan is 2 thumbs up, but who do we not read about being 2 thumbs up there? The one who sent him is not 2 thumbs up. It does not say anything that Saul is pleased at this point. Saul has sent him out to win victories, but Saul is unsure in his head right now what he has done. Was it the right move? So then we're going to see that Saul has a reason to start questioning. Was this the right move? Because Saul goes on a campaign for once. Saul steps out and says, look, I see what's going on here. I hear the whispers with my servants. I hear the whispers through the people that they really love David. But I'm not hearing my name in this. So Saul says, I'm going to go with you guys this campaign, and we're going to own the Philistines together. And that's what happens. And it says in verse 6, as they were coming home, when David returned from striking down the Philistines, the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tambourines, songs of joy, and with musical instruments. And the women sang to one another as they celebrated, Saul has struck down thousands, and David his 10,000s. They go way out to the boundaries of Israel and attack the Philistines. As they ride through each and every little town, King David's in the lead. He's on a horse, which signifies he is the king. Everyone else is either walking or riding donkeys. Donkeys for David and the rest, because they're lower than the king. And the king thinks he should get all the praise because he is the king. Whoever he sends out, well, that's really him going out. So he feels that if I send David out and he does something, that's really me doing that because he's my servant. So David and Saul and all of them are riding through the towns, and the women come out to praise them for the victory and the safety. And who do they praise greater? Not the king, but the one the king sent. If you were king, would that make you happy? Probably not. If you were a businessman and your employees do a job for you and they get all the praise, yet you're the one who owns the business, runs the business, and send them over there, don't you think you should get the clap on the back? Don't you think yours should be the one that gets the handshake, not them? Well, most businesses would say, absolutely. I'm the one who owns it. I should get the biggest praise. So Saul's going to get jealous. And we read that. And Saul was very angry. And this saying displeased him. He said, they have ascribed David to 10,000s. And to me, they have ascribed thousands. What more can he have but the kingdom? And Saul eyed David from that day on. Saul already heard the whispers. Saul already seen the writing on the wall, per se. Saul realizes David's got a name for himself that Saul can never come up to. Saul has faith in God, but not to the level that David has. And instead of trying to come up to David's level, Saul just looks at him and says, I got my eye on you, dude. I know what you're doing. I'm going to start watching on who you talk to in the kingdom. I'm going to start watching what you do with the soldiers. I'm going to start keeping spies on you everywhere. I want to know every movement you say, every speech you have to say, everyone you talk to, whether it's in the towns, it's in the cities, or it's in my throne room. I want to know because I'm watching for you to backstab me. I see the writing on the wall. That's what Saul's doing right now. Saul's watching this, and day after day after day, he's watching, and he's recording. And it starts wearing on his brain, and his attitude changes. And he becomes that person that distrusts everyone. And it says, the next day, a harmful spirit from God rushed upon Saul. And he raved within his house while David was playing the lyre, as he did day by day. Saul loses it. He goes insane from it. He snaps. Then, it says, Saul had his spear in his hand. And Saul hurled the spear, for he thought, I will pin twice. Saul sitting in his throne room holding his spear, just fuming, seeing red, seeing enemy everywhere. And who does he hear playing music? Who is beside him? Who is the fury that he's looking at the most? It's David. And he says, dude, it's your fault. So he grabs his spear and says, hey, I'm the king. Who cares if I kill this guy? I'm the king. I can do anything I want. There's no one that says I can't kill him. So if I get rid of him, I get rid of all these schemes and plans that are all plotting against me. My son will forgive me. Who cares if he doesn't? I'm king. God can't have this throne. It's my throne. I want it. So he grabs the spear and he throws it at David. But David's got an eye on Saul. He can see the change in Saul's face. He can see the change in Saul's demeanor on the throne. And he sees him gripping that spear tighter and tighter and eyeing him. So when he throws it, David ducks and runs. Now we see that in this story. Jonathan admired David. Jonathan respected David. But Saul envied David and tried to rid him of his kingdom. Let's stop right here for a second and ask ourselves, who's at fault? Who sinned? Is it David? Did David sin? Keep in mind, David understands he's a servant of Saul. When they're riding through the towns, did David say, women, please, stop. No, that's wrong. Don't sing that. Did he ever correct them? Did he ever go to Saul and say, Saul, I heard what they were singing. Dude, it all goes to you. Did he ever do that? Did he ever go to the servants and say, hey, I know you guys really love me, but lift Saul up. He needs it. Let's boost Saul up a little more. He's feeling down. Did he ever do that? Well, no. So, did he cause Saul to envy? Think about that for a second. If he doesn't stop it, then is he causing it? Well, the answer would be no. Because if God is going to praise someone, can we say, God, I don't want praise. Stop praising me. Is he going to listen to us? No. So if God says, I want these women to praise David, is anything David going to say to them going to stop them? No. They're going to keep on praising whether he says stop or not, whether he goes to the servants and says, hey guys, I know you really love me, but don't talk about me in front of Saul. They're going to do it anyway because God has ordained this to happen. God says, Saul, you messed up on this throne. It's not for you to be there. I'm going to remove you and I'm going to set David up. So no matter what David tries to do, if he tried to do anything, it wouldn't work because God had already ordained this to happen and it was going to happen. So Saul is sinning because he's looking at the faith of David and saying, I'm envious of that faith. I want that relationship with God, but I don't really want to work for it. I really don't want it. I just desire it because it looks cool. But I don't want to do anything that makes me have to work for it. So David is not sinning. It is not his fault. It's Saul's fault of what he's doing. Now we would all agree, though, that it is a sin to cause someone else to stumble purposely, right? If we do something, whether it's an action or it's a word or it's an inaction that we allow to happen in our presence that we can control, but don't, and someone stumbles and sins, that is on us. That's not on them so much as it is us, because we are in control of that situation. We can stop that situation. And my point for that is this. In Luke 17:1, and he said to his disciples, temptations to sin are sure to come, but woe to the one through whom they come. He wants us not to be the ones to allow someone to sin on our behalf. Jesus says, look, there's going to be all kinds of temptations, and they're going to come at everyone all the time. But for the person who realizes that temptation's coming, and realizes it's a temptation to someone else, and you don't stand in the way and try and stop it, but you allow it, you don't care, you turn a blind eye to it, or you purposely cause it so that person will stumble because you're jealous of them, you're envious of them, or you don't like them, woe to you, because you're as guilty as they are, and more. Because you've taken someone who is lower in the faith and dropped them even lower. You're up here, and you bring yourself down to them. Woe to you. That's worse off. You are way worse than them. So then let's ask ourselves real quick here. If that's the case, that if I see someone who's weaker in the faith than me, and they look at my faith, who might be a little stronger than theirs, and they envy, am I to help them out then by downplaying my faith? Am I to downplay my walk with Christ so they don't feel so uncomfortable? So that they feel better about themselves and they're not envying and stumbling over me? Am I to lower my work ethics for Christ? Am I to lower everything about myself so that they don't stumble? Because that's how it sounds, right? Don't cause someone to stumble. If I know they're going to stumble because of how I talk or what I talk about or how I act, because I'm more Christ in me, and so I'm living that example better, are they stumbling because of me? So I'm to lower myself so they don't? That'd be wrong too, to assume that. God says never lower yourself. He says in 1 Timothy 4:11 through 12, and then again 15 and 16, command and teach these things. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. God says what you talk about, how you act, and everything about you should be at a higher standard than those who are not to that standard. You're to lift yourself up. You're to personally strive for the best. You're to, despite what everyone else thinks about you, you're supposed to go for the gold. And if they want to go for that gold, that's great. But if they don't, that's on them. You, as a Christian, are supposed to go for the gold at all times. 15 and 16 reminds us, be diligent in these matters. Give yourself wholly to them, so that everyone may see your progress. Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both you and your hearers. Be diligent. Don't become a slacker. Don't become casual Christian. Be the called to be Christian. The one who says, you know what? So what? No one else reads their Bible. I'm going to read mine. So what if no one likes to pray as much as I do? I'm going to continue praying. So what if people don't like my doctrinally conversations? They don't want to be challenged. Oh well, I'm going to keep challenging myself. I'm going to still keep having conversations with other Christians that sharpen me and not dull me. I'd like to be challenged. This past week, me and my oldest son Eric got in a conversation on the phone. He brought up a doctrinal topic, and I'm like, really? Okay, devil's advocate here. We're going to do this. And so I played devil's advocate, and you know what? He tried to go 7 different directions on me, David. He did. He tried to go, oh, I didn't say that. I said, whoa, you said this. So now we got a hold of this. What you say, I'm going to hold you to. So we had a long, about an hour and a half discussion. Finally he goes, you know what, you just want to argue. I said, you know what? I like the sharpening of this. This was nice. I learned, I taught myself, but I also learned, you got a lot to grow with, dude. You're not as smart as you thought you were. And he's like, shut up, I don't like you no more. That's what it is, you know? I helped bring this kid up. I know what it is. So God is telling us 4 things. He's telling us to emphasize our faith. Make it known what you believe. He's telling you also to emphasize your zeal for God. Don't hide that you're excited for God. Now, if you're on Facebook, you'll get all these posts that say, if you love me, and it's a picture of supposedly Jesus, you'll post this again. Or, if you don't care, and there's a picture of Satan, you'll be like him and won't want to paste it. And I'm like, you know, that's not what we're talking about here. That's not the zeal we're talking about. Anyone can hit a button and say, yep, I'm a follower. There I go. Good. I've done my deed. It's like wearing a Christian t-shirt or, hey, I'm a Christian. Look at my shirt. It tells you so. Or look at the back of my car. It's got a Christian bumper sticker. That makes me a Christian. Doesn't at all. What God is saying is, I want you to openly talk about me. I want you to openly live a zeal for me. Show people more than talk about. Show people you're a Christian. Show people you believe in me and you trust in me. Don't make it something, well, I've got to hit a button so everyone knows that I believe in God. Another one, emphasize your work. Now, I know, we're not supposed to build ourselves up personally, right? Pat ourselves on the back. But it doesn't say, don't show what you do for God. God says, you need to show what you do for God. You need to talk about what you do for God. Because how will anyone else know that needs done? How will anyone to know that's something you do for God if you don't talk about it? When you do works for God, it's okay to let other people know as long as you're not bragging about it. Hey, by the way, this had to be done this week. This had to be done this week. Or, I did this for God this week. You're not really saying, hey, pat me on the back, give me a good job, I want to praise. You're saying, did you know that you should be doing similar things? That's how it should come out. That's how it should be expelled out. That you emphasize you work for God. You're not working for yourselves. And you need to do these things for God because otherwise your faith grows weak. Without working for God, you're nothing. You're going to wither up and die. And finally, the emphasis, my lifestyle for God. You have to emphasize you have a lifestyle that is God lifestyle, not a worldly lifestyle. There's a difference between a Christian who says, I'm a Christian, and a Christian who says, I have a lifestyle that's Christian. Because a Christian who says, I'm just a church-going Christian, yeah, they come to church, they open up a Bible, they might read the scriptures on the screen, they sing songs, they go home, and then their world is different. But a lifestyle Christian says, you know what? Like I talked a couple weeks ago, you can't tell the difference between here and there with them. It's the same look. Nothing changes. They're the same person. They worship God here and they worship God there. Wherever they go, they're worshiping God. Wherever they go, they're talking about God. Wherever they go, their lifestyle says, I'm a Christian. And you can tell the difference by how I talk and how I walk. That is emphasizing a lifestyle for God. So, as I said before, your brothers and sisters in Christ will look at you in one of two ways. They will look at you with an appreciation and a desire to be like you, or they're going to look at you and say, can you tone it down? Can you tone it down a bit? You're a bit overwhelming. You're a bit loud. And I don't like it. It bothers me. I don't want to be around you. You bother me. You disturb how I like to live, and I don't want to deal with that. So go away. But here's what we got to remember. Like I said last week, we live this way, and we have to go to God and say, God, I'm going to let you handle the consequences of this. God, it's on you. I'm going to leave the consequences to God. And God says, oh, here we go again. Good job, my child. You realize you can't handle this. You realize this is not for you to deal with. You're not going to try and solve this on your own. You're relying on me. Oh, that just says so much about your faith. Good job. I like that you're leaving me this problem you have with another Christian. Now allow me to solve this problem. Allow me to work through this problem. Because you see, this is on me, God says, not on you. That's a relationship that I have with this other person that me and him or me and her need to work with. Not you. But I want you to stay faithful, because when you do, and when you put this in my hands, that's going to solve two things here. That's going to solve your problem with this person, because you're not going to hate them anymore. You're not going to get upset with them when they want to throw problems at you and they want to nitpick you. You're going to say, hey, it's all right. It's all right. I'm going to forgive you. And when you're ready to come in and ask me for forgiveness, I'm going to give it wholeheartedly, because Jesus does it every day for me. Secondly, you're giving them the ability to see that where they're at now is not where God wants them to be. But where they're at now might not save them. But where you're walking is the straight and narrow path. And you're encouraging them to get on that straight and narrow path with you. So you're saving them as much as saving yourself. We're going to close now. Our singers are going to come up. I want to give this opportunity like every week. If you're not on a straight and narrow path, if you're walking a side path,